I realized God had cornered me. I had nowhere else to run. So I did what I was raised to do when I found myself in a tough situation. I looked up and had a conversation with God. Lord, I know I've been running from you. I know I messed up. If you let me live, I will never touch another drug and give my life to you. I'm sorry, Lord. Please, please let me live. As I lay still, my heart rate began to slow. Before I knew it, I fell asleep. When I woke up a few hours later, I had made it. I was alive. God saw me through. The Olympic gold medal, the world championships, the Hall of Fame almost never happened. But God had his hand on me. Chapter 1. A Champion is Born. I sat on the floor wide-eyed as I'd watched heavyweight champion Michael Moore hit Big George Foreman at will, round after round, with hard right jabs, straight left hands, and right hooks to the face. Big George kept blinking as he got hit, seemingly unable to evade the blows. But he never stopped coming forward. I was 10 years old, sitting close to my dad in front of our big screen television, one of those old heavy consoles that sat on the floor. I was mesmerized watching these two large men engaged in this sort of poetic, brutal dance with one another. It was the first time I ever paid attention to a live boxing match on TV. I was a daddy's boy. My dad, Frank, was heavily invested in the fight. By default, I was heavily invested too. My dad had grown up watching George Foreman, had followed him for a long time. When he settled into his chair to watch Foreman and Moore go at it, he told me he had always liked George Foreman because he was mean in the ring and carried a big punch. Big George was also a Christian man and seemed to be a great father. Those were qualities I associated with my dad, so I liked Foreman too. But things were going badly for Foreman against Moore. To my eyes, it looked like the younger champion was hitting Big George whenever he wanted, and it didn't seem like there was anything Big George could do about it. This had me and my dad worried. By the time the fight reached the 10th round, the two commentators said that George might have lost every round. They said it might have been a bad idea that George came back to boxing after a 10-year layoff. He was almost 20 years older than Moore. The beating was painful to watch. My dad was getting more worried with every round that went by. By the 10th round, something happened that shocked me, my dad, and every person in the MGM Grand Garden Arena that night, including Jim Lampley, the lead HBO blow-by-blow commentator. With a minute 18 to go in the round, Big George pushed Moore back, trying to line him up for a stiff jab, right hand, left hook combo. George parried a right jab from Michael Moore. Both fighters circled one another. George shot a sharp, thudding 1-2 combo to Moore's chin. Moore froze for a split second. George followed up with the same 1-2 combination. Boom, boom. The two punches landed a half-inch closer to the point of Michael Moore's chin. Time seemed to slow down in that moment. My father and I watched in disbelief as the champion fell straight back, as if someone had pulled a chair out from under him. Michael Moore was flat on his back. My dad and I looked at each other in shock, then we leapt to our feet. Moore lifted his head as if he was going to attempt to get up. 6, 7, 8. Moore managed to roll over on both knees. 9, 10. The referee waved both hands. The fight was over. Big George did it. We both jumped as high as we could, yelling and screaming. The volume on the TV was blasting. Lampley belted out, "It happened! It happened! George Foreman has pulled off the miracle no one thought possible," Gil Clancy, the color commentator, screamed. The cameras cut to Foreman, kneeling in a neutral corner, looking up in prayer while people jumped on his back. But Big George didn't flinch. He kept praying. "Moore doesn't know where he is. He's still down," Lampley shouted. The crowd noise in the arena was deafening. Moore had been dominating the fight up to that fateful moment, but he got careless and he paid for it. Many years later, I would learn this invaluable lesson in my own career, that one punch could change everything. For Michael Moore that night, it did just that. The whole spectacle that night did something to me. My father's exuberance, the roar of the crowd in the arena, and specifically the way Jim Lampley captured that moment with genuine excitement and authenticity. He made me feel as though I were right there in the arena. He made the moment come alive for me.